I talk a lot about the experts that we can be. You see, sometimes as new coaches, we feel like we may not have enough information or we may not have enough experience to run a group program. Has anyone felt that doubt before when it comes to either coaching or group programs? Yeah? Where do I start? How do I teach? When it comes to the type of expert that we be or that we show up as in a group program, I've categorized two, and one is called the results expert. Okay, and the other is called the researcher expert. So here's the beauty of these two experts is that we will fit into one or both categories. Typically, everyone will. We can either be the results expert, and what that means is that is someone who has been on a journey, who has embodied the teachings, and who has had results. Now, I don't necessarily mean results in the form of you've grown £1 million or £1 billion business. That is one form. But results could be, I've been an individual who's went through a personal transformative healing journey, and here is my results. I'm now a fully functioning whole human being who loves myself, or at least I'm on the path to loving myself. You could be a parent who has been through the journey of parenthood. That is not an easy one. Anyone else been on that journey? Whew. This is an experience where we have had results and we've walked the path. So in anyone's life, we have walked a path where we have learned from not only our successes, but also the challenges and the obstacles that we've been through. This is a results expert. Now, arguably, when you've trained in coaching and you've trained in other forms of coaching, whether that's NLP, whether it's hypnosis, whether it's meditation, you have went through that journey, learned a set of skills, and are the results expert. You've learned it, you've lived it, you've been through it. Now you can give it back. Jarek Robbins has a beautiful formula where he calls it learn it, live it, give it, a 3-step formula. He does a TED talk on this, which is really worth checking out. Learn it, live it, give it. That's a results expert. That's a person who has been through an experience, who has lived through an experience, who has learned through the experience, and now they're giving it back. Does that make sense? So when I first launched my group program, I was able to say to people, here's what I can help with. I hadn't built a 6-figure business at the time. I hadn't built, anything that I regarded as a success in business. But what I had done was I had developed a formula on how to enroll clients. I had developed an understanding of how to run a coaching business, which was sustainable. I had understood how to show up and coach a client powerfully. I had learned how to do, some of the models that we learned through training and then adapt that for a group setting. So these are some of the things that I learned. So you are an expert in your own experience. Does that make sense? Yeah? And sometimes we think, but do I have enough knowledge? Do I have enough experience? Never underestimate just how much your journey is already inspiring people that you have no idea of. You'll be surprised at how many people are only 1 step behind you on the journey, or 5 steps, or 10 steps. The you that was here 2 years ago, or the you that was here 5 years ago. Never underestimate how valuable your experience is to those individuals. Life-changing stuff. The person, who I was 5 years ago, if I had me now 5 years ago, it would be so valuable. Someone that could be vulnerable and say, I've been there. I've been in that position where it was tough and challenging. Does that make sense? So we've got the first type of expert, which is the results expert, the person that's been through an experience. The second type of expert is a researcher expert. Okay, now the researcher expert, I also put myself into this category. The researcher expert is the person who will go and read books, watch films, watch seminars, travel the world to see seminars when we could travel the world. They'll watch various different documentaries and they'll study and they'll invest themselves into listening to podcasts and interviews, or they'll go and learn another skill. They'll go back to college or university. So researcher expert is the second type of expert. Now, if you're like me, I feel like I'm constantly researching, whether that's how to do a Zoom live stream from a technology perspective, or whether that is reading a new book on neuroscience. Bigging up Dr. Joe Dispenza at the moment. Anyone a fan of Dr. Joe Dispenza? His book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, I'm so engrossed with it. But that is research, right? I'm learning more about neuroscience and quantum energy and quantum physics. And all of this information I can then give back. That's researching. And we can share that. Now, in my own group programs, that is what I've used. I've used a mixture of the results that I've had, the experiences from my journey, and I've also used the research, the books that I've read, the things that inspire me, the lessons that I've learned, the authors that I've followed, the papers that I've read, the documentaries I've watched, the YouTubes that I've watched. All of this is so valuable. And again, one of the beauties about our industry is that we get paid for learning and then giving that back, for then sharing that with other people. I often am met with, coaches when they talk about their fees and, how do I raise the fee? Because they're looking at the fee as an hourly rate or a time rate. But if you think about how much time we invest into learning, how much time we invest into reading, how much time and money and energy we invest in going on courses, that's so much value, right, that we bring into every session. We are doing the work for so many other people, especially group programs when we are in the mode of teacher or trainer or mentor or consultant. So that is the second type of expert, the researcher, a person who has learned lots and is then giving that back in their own way. They're making it accessible for more people to understand. Does this make sense to everyone? Yeah? Give me a thumbs up